Okay, so we should be live.
Yay!
Exciting. So, Cousett, can you remind me of how we got connected or how you found out about these the Facebook
I,
Lives or meet and greets and stuff for the group?
yeah, I think it was through either Boss Moms or Mom to Mompreneur. Are you part of either of those
Oh,
groups?
I am in Boss Moms. Okay.
Boss Mom, yes. I love Dana and I love her group. And I think we were just chatting about lives. And one of my goals for 2020 is to do more lives and to connect with more fellow mamas on Facebook Live. So, so
Okay. Awesome. I love that. I love that. I think that's an amazing goal for 2020 because visibility is so important and video is like the way to do that. So good stuff.
yes.
Good stuff. So for the ladies in the group that are watching live or watching the replay, so you know that Cousett and I do not know each other. This is our first time meeting, and I'm just a very authentic, like intuitive person. And I know every time I meet someone, like for the first time, that's when like all the good, juicy stuff comes out, right? Because if you're a naturally curious person, you're going to ask all the good stuff from the start. So I've done this before where like I meet the person first and then we try to have like the podcast or the interview and all that. And it's like we miss so much because we did all of it when we first started. So, and I think this is a really great way. Like if you're any bit of being shy about being on camera, or if you're not used to interviewing and all that kind of stuff, it's a great way to like just do it, right? Like do it and not worry about like things being perfect. Like get over your
Yes.
perfectionism.
That's my goal because yes, I fit in that category completely.
I love it so much. So, Cousett, can you tell us where you're from and what you do and all that beautiful stuff?
Yeah, of course. I'm originally from Silicon Valley, from California, but I moved to Texas. I say that I moved from Silicon Valley to Silicon Hills because Austin is the new tech hub of the US, I feel like. I moved here when I was about 10, so I pretty much consider myself a Texan now. um, I what I do, I have two boys, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. He's actually about to turn 18 months, so he's growing up so quickly. And then my 3-year-old will be 4 in April. So I never imagined myself as a boy mama, but now it's hard to believe anything else. It's amazing how that happens, how God just has a plan and is like, nope, you're gonna have boys.
Oh my goodness. Are your boys easy or hard? What would you say?
I would say hard. They're both very persistent. I actually recently read Raising the Spirited Child because I really think that my first is.
Okay. I like that.
It's a
I might
great,
need to write that
yeah,
down.
it's a great book. It's a great book. Even, it just talks about Spirited is like more persistent, more just they're usually just feel things more sensitive, and a lot of that matched with him. So he's super sensitive, he's super caring, but he's super persistent. And so in some ways he doesn't always listen, or just always I see other kids, because we're always constantly comparing ourselves, but they can sit at the playground and eat their lunch nicely, and mine is sitting for 2 seconds and then running off and then coming back. And
Mm-mm-mm.
so some of that is toddlerhood, but yeah.
I was just about to say, I remember, yeah, some of that is definitely toddlerhood because my kids are, oh, how old are those children? 10, 11, and their birthdays are coming up in May. So 10, 12, and 16, if I go ahead and claim the
Wow.
birthdays. So, but I still resonate with you on the spirited child
Well,
because
you
it
had us all
only
as toddlers together, so I'm sure you remember.
exactly. I remember. And then you think like you're gonna get out of the things, dude. They get more independent along the way, but you're still managing that personality and the way they interact with you and the way they communicate with you. So I love that you brought that book up The Spirited Child by who?
Ooh,
Oh,
I'm not
don't feel
sure,
bad. I never
but
remember who the
I'll
author
send it to
is.
you and you can put it in the notes if you like.
Sounds
Raising the
great.
Spirited Child.
Raising the Spirited Child. That sounds amazing. Sounds like a book that a lot of, because this group is for mompreneurs. So I'm sure
Yes.
that as we're trying to grow our businesses and we're actually dealing with raising our children at the same time, it's like if we can get the discipline, the listening ears, all of
Hmm.
that under control, it makes our job a lot easier. We have that,
Yes.
the home life and the discipline and the routines kind of in order. So I think that's a really good resource. And so, what is it that you do for business? I said mompreneur.
Yes, mompreneur. So my love is technology. That's why I started with moving from Silicon Valley to Silicon Hills. I've always had tech in my upbringing. My dad worked for IBM. I love Apple products. I studied computer science. And then when my first was born, I was close to finishing my PhD in learning technologies.
Whoa.
And so I've taken that passion of my love for tech and my love for teaching, and I'm helping fellow mompreneurs get their tech set up, because a lot of times that's a big barrier. That's a big it's a time suck because you're learning, and there's sometimes, a lot of times there's a big curve on how to do all these things, how to go live, how, manage your email list, how to, set up WordPress. I love WordPress. That's my
Me
big thing. But
too.
so just kind of helping other moms, and I've met so many amazing moms, including that just want to do such awesome, amazing things, and they need the tech to be able to really do it fully. But a lot of times, it takes a long time, or that's a barrier. And since I love the tech, I'm like, let me be your tech coach. Let me show you how to do it. Let me, do some of the harder things, do some of the setup that you won't ever have to do again, and then show you how to do the day-to-day that you might have to do. So I do everything from designing the websites and developing websites from scratch to just I have a lot of packages that are like speeding up your WordPress website or getting it ready for all the security laws that are coming into place.
Those are all important things. I want to tell you, I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, why is this loading so slow? I do have an assistant. I mean, she does amazing work for me. She does everything I ask her to. So I'm sure if I'm like, why is our website slow? She's like, girl, you got me on all these other tasks. Okay. We'll figure out the slowness later. But that was something that crossed my mind just the other day, because I was trying to I was trying to look up something on my website, and I was just like, my testimonials are loading slow. And then the security side of things, yes, there's those newer things that are coming out where we have to stay up to date. And if you're not the tech savvy person, you don't want that to be a barrier or to cause you to procrastinate. And I find that even in the coaching work that I do, because I do soulful business alignment work and mindset mastery work. So I'm part of that like brainstorming phase where women are coming together to figure out like what it is they really want to put out in the world, and what their signature service is going to look like, and how they're going to design it, and how they're going to price it, and all of that. So then tech does become a thing. It is an aspect of that.
Yeah.
So I totally know what you're talking about. And for me, not being tech savvy, I'm always because I've been doing this for like 3 to 5 years now.
Right.
I'm like always suggesting the things that I know work. Like I can only help you with the things that I know that work, the systems that are in place with my business. But you being the tech savvy person that you are, I'm sure you're like, I got it. You can handle it all, which is awesome and so amazing.
I have a lot of experience with different apps, and I love testing out different apps too. So, if there's a free trial, I probably have an account on that site.
That is so cool.
Have tried it out.
What would you say is one of one of the apps that you currently use, apps, tools, whatever word we use for that, that you currently use that helps you in the area of organization? What is one of those that you would suggest to like the ladies in the group if they're wanting to get more
Organization.
organized with like their to-dos and their just their life in general? Maybe they're using it
Yeah.
for meal planning. Maybe they're using it for content creation. I know if you're entrepreneurial minded, which a lot of the ladies are in this group, content creation is a huge big thing, like organizing how you put those things out. So what is something that you would I'm taking screenshots over here. What is something that you would suggest, or something that you've used in the past that comes to mind?
For sure. So I just started personally the 12-week year.
12-week year.
um, which is a new system for me. And I am using two different apps for that. One is Airtable, and Airtable is really cool if you've ever used like a database where you have tables that are interconnected with each other, and you can have like different views of things, like a calendar view or like a list view and stuff like that. Airtable kind of works with that idea. They have a
I've
lot of
heard of
things.
Airtable. I've just never actually gone in there and like tried to look at it.
It's a really cool app. It's a really cool way to kind of create your own systems where you have things connecting to each other and stuff like that. So I've done some content planning in there before. This past year I was a little bit more kind of on the fly than I wanted to be, but it didn't work so well for me. But for someone that's really keeping up with their content planning, and hopefully this year that'll be me as well, it works really great to kind of put in all those pieces that you have to think about, like the images and the social media, and if you repurpose the content, kind of how you're going to do that and stuff like that, and kind of keep track of just all the different pieces in different tables and stuff like that. And so you could have like a Pinterest table and that shows all your pins, but then if you click on the link of where the pin is, like what post it's part of, then that'll take you to like the post table where you can see more information about like when you published it and whatever content you want to keep track of. But so that's one that's really cool. I think that's really cool for to-do lists and for content planning. The other one that I'm using a lot is called ClickUp. And
Interesting.
yeah, that's I think a newish one. It hasn't really gone super popular yet, but I really like it. It integrates some of those different views that Airtable does. And it also kind of brings in some of the great things about Trello, which is another popular one, as far as like kind of the board view and stuff like that. So it really kind of, I'm more of a linear person, so I like the to-do list, but every now and then I do like to see also kind of a board view. And so so it kind of helps you do both, a little bit of both.
Okay. I've never heard of ClickUp, so I think that's kind of cool. I think it's really good to know about different tools, different apps, because everybody's brain's going to work differently. Everybody's like feel for like the interface and everything is going to be differently. One that I'm currently using is Monday.com. Have you heard of
I've
that
heard
one?
of that one. Yeah.
Yes, I love Monday because you get the boards and you get to, do the step by step, and like even within each step, you get to do bulleted points. So you get to like break down that project or that task as deep as you want to go, and you upload files for each step. And it's just a really good thing that me and my assistant are able to use together. It has it literally has changed the game. Like deadlines get met a whole lot faster than you just trying to talk through email all the time or talk through Messenger all the time. Things get lost.
Exactly.
So what would you say when, say, a mompreneur comes to you and she's like, I need help with tech? Like, what is the like number one thing, or maybe two things or so, that you find that women are coming to you for as far as help in their businesses?
I'd say probably WordPress, setting up the blog or setting up the website is probably number one. Kind of getting that web presence set up. And kind of all that goes into that. So, continued maintenance and stuff like that. The second one, maybe just with the start of the new year, I've gotten a lot of requests of what are you using for bookkeeping?
Bookkeeping.
That's been, I kind of in the last 3-4 months or so, I started using QuickBooks. And so I've been kind of helping people set that up or just kind of getting familiar with that. But yeah, that's probably with the start of the new year, just kind of we're rethinking of our finances, rethinking of our budgets, rethinking of,
Those
how's this.
expenses that we got to write off for the business, for the taxes. That's what it is.
Yes.
Everybody started to think about that because the taxes are coming around. Like, what are those expenses? So I can get my taxes to come down some.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love that, like, even that side of like finances is like that can be a technical thing too, right? Like, I can gather all my receipts, I can have it in my head, but I need some type of software, some type of something to help me to like be organized and to make it easy. And so it's not something that I'm stressing over, right before the deadline for taxes and everything.
Sure.
So cool stuff. Hey, Michelle. Michelle says, hey, I know her. Michelle Huddleston. Do you know her?
I
Hi, Michelle. Michelle is, I know Michelle because she joined one of my programs maybe it was a year or two ago. So her and I have worked together in the past, and she is an amazing, lovely homeschool consultant. If you're wanting to start up your side hustle, side gig, that type of thing, she helps you with that as well. Organization, meal. I think she's doing something for meal planning right now, but she can have her own meet and greet. Look, we're not talking about Michelle right now with her amazing self. So I think that's so cool. They always say it's a small world, right? Like, I had no clue that you knew Miss Michelle. She's amazing.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you another question, and I'm about to forget. But you were telling us about how you got started with tech, and you were saying that it was something you went to school for, almost a PhD.
Yeah.
You made my jaw drop. What? Because that is some hard work, honey. So while you were doing that work, have you ever felt like discouraged or like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Have you ever wavered? Like, let's get like behind the scenes a little bit more. Like, tell me more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was one of the hardest decisions when I decided to leave the PhD program when my first was born, and to really say, what are my priorities and what am I going to do? And that was like my identity for so long, was trying to pursue, the PhD. But I think with all things, God has a plan, and I call it divine providence that I did. And and a couple months later, I started Techie Mama. It's just kind of my own personal little blog, just kind of talking about being a mom and my struggles. And then that grew into kind of meeting new moms, and and that's just been life changing. And it's definitely a passion for me. The tech part, I think, has always kind of just been kind of my background kind of little thing, just kind of like people are crafty or people are, musical or something like that. I don't know, for whatever reason, I've always just kind of been techie, just kind of always had a knack for it and just always enjoyed it. And I'm not crafty, and I'm barely cook. I have an Instapot, so that's my tech in the kitchen.
I am not crafty, and I have an Instapot too. So I hear you, girl. I recently just bought the thing. I had the slow cooker, but it was taking too long because I'm last minute. So I was like, dang it, I just thought to cook something. So the Instapot was like amazing yesterday. I made some I forgot what I made, a lentil and rice thing, because we're also trying to go plant-based as well. So girl, hey, We're sisters over here with the no craft. And I'm a homeschool mom. I'm supposed to be crafty. No, we don't do crafts around here. That's why we're literature based, because I don't do
I like it.
crafts.
Yeah, I could be literature
So
based. That's really cool.
yes, yes. But you mentioned something a little earlier when you're talking about identity. And that
Hmm.
is like, wow, that's a whole nother topic in itself. And I love that you talked about that, because for any of the ladies that are in the group that are watching, you are a mom. It's like, I remember going to college, like thinking I'm gonna finish with this amazing degree, go get my master's. I was supposed to get the license in human service counseling, supposed to be a counselor, all that good
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like the children come and then the priorities shift. And then we
Right.
have to redefine, our picture, our vision of what we thought we would become and how we would operate in this world, because our values shift. So
Yeah.
I totally resonate with that. And I think a lot of women here will.
Yeah.
But I love that you didn't lose that core part of like your passion and what you've always loved to do. Like you just found another way to still
Hmm.
do the same thing that you loved, right? And so whether it was going to be in corporate or private sector, you're like, nope, kids first, we're going to make this work, and you're doing it. I'm assuming that you're doing this business from home, right? Is it your
Yes,
online
yes.
business?
This is, you can see it in the background.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this work?
Um, so specifically with moms, I started in 2019, but I've been freelancing for about 5 years. So freelancing with small businesses and stuff like that. But kind of the angle of working with other mompreneurs, like really focusing on that. I'll still, do other small businesses. I'm not.
Yeah.
um, but focusing on mompreneurs and really trying to connect and help in that passion. It's been about a year. Um, but yeah, definitely just the tech and all that background has been a lot longer. So,
Got
but
you,
yeah, I
got you,
think a
got
lot
you.
of moms, we take what we love, whether it was what we studied or whether it's, a passion that we've had um from before, and there's so much that you can do with it. I have a friend who loves writing, and so she started just writing as a freelancer and just helping other small businesses kind of hone down on that writing. And that's something else I'm
Mhm.
not great at is writing, but
Oh, I love
Grammarly is
writing.
a great app for that.
Yes, 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 it really is. I love writing. I do some anthology projects sometimes where
Mhm.
the women that join in on those, it's a book project where we can have anywhere from 6 to 10 to 12 women that come together, and they get guaranteed bestseller on Amazon when they partner with me on
Oh,
that.
that's awesome.
So yes, they are responsible for writing their own stories, their own chapters, but I have like a 2-part editing process that kind of helps fine tune the story, because I love writing. I love
Oh,
storytelling, and I love that
yeah,
content creation. Like I was telling you about
yeah,
how we can really infuse our story into our brand, right? And another thing
right.
that I love is spirituality. Like I
Mhm.
I believe that every woman that is operating that business are doing it from a God-centered place, right? Like
Mhm.
God has created us. He has given us that passion, that drive, that motivation. And we want to make sure that we give him glory in our businesses. How would you say that you are incorporating your faith within your business? Would you say that that's something that you're doing, you have thought to do, it's not really a big thing, like tech and faith? I'm not sure how those come together. Maybe they do,
Yeah.
maybe they don't. I don't know.
When I was little, I grew up in Catholic schools. They told me that I'd be the patron saint of technology or computers or something like that. So we could say that.
Yeah.
I don't know, besides just kind of, in my priorities and in my values, trying to see how God is kind of leading me in different ways. I mean, I could have just stayed a freelancer and, honestly, I could charge probably a lot more to small businesses for a simple website than I am to moms. But I know moms are starting out and they're trying to do this. And what I love is teaching. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll reduce the price, but we'll do this together, you know? And so that's how I kind of justify that. But, but so I think just really, you know, seeing God's plan and just trying to, you know, um, just taking every moment and, you know, trying to decide, you know, is this the way I need to go, or, you know, which way is he calling me? And being more intentional with, you know, time with the kids. I tend to, like, you know, go all in on projects. And so my husband has, you know, tells me on a regular basis, like, you know, you need to get your head out of the phone and, you know, stop being on Facebook and stuff like that. We're all guilty of that.
I
So, you
think
know, just
so.
trying to be really intentional. And, you know, now I have a separate Android phone with a separate phone number for, you know, those things. And I have all of my kind of social and work apps on that phone. So I'm not checking constantly, you know, things, and trying to be really intentional with, I think, you know, and everybody has different methods and different ways of doing it. But I think for me, one thing that's working out great is to have, you know, I'm going to have X amount of time that I have childcare, and that's my work time. And then otherwise, for the most part, I'm with the kids and I'm present there. And, you know, and I have a 3 and a 1-year-old. So it's different when you have different ages. And they're, my 3-year-old's in preschool, but otherwise, you know, there's no constant childcare. And so I think, you know, also just kind of being intentional with that, being intentional with, I'm going to work so many hours. And if I don't get that blog post up, then that's all right. You know,
There's always tomorrow,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Oh yeah. I love that you said, when you talked about like your faith and your spirituality, as like for you it's a personal thing, and it is really about um allowing God to speak to your spirit in the direction and how he would have you to serve. Because you said there's so
Mhm.
many different ways you could serve in this tech field, but you're doing it in a way that God has called you to do it. And I
Mhm.
think that sometimes what happens is we look at maybe the niche or the target that God is saying that we should serve, and someone else could say, oh, well, they don't make a lot of money and that's not gonna, you know, I can't make money that way. I'm not gonna get a good profit that way. But you're saying, no, I'm gonna be obedient to the call and I'm gonna
Mhm.
serve who God has called me to serve. And I absolutely love that you're able to share that and like stand in that and know that that's the direction that he's calling you. The other thing about boundaries, OMG, boundaries are so important in our
Yeah.
businesses. So you guys, if y'all are hopping in and kind of like watching all of this, I am live with Cousett Hoover. She is the owner and founder of a Techie Mama, and she has joined me for a live meet and greet, and I'm just so excited to have her here.
Mhm.
I will tell you guys again, this is our first time meeting. I love doing these live meet and greets just off the cuff because we get deep, we go in, and if you're just a naturally curious person like I am, all the awesome questions are going to come out. So that's just the way. But back to what we were talking about as far as the boundaries, like boundaries.
Mhm.
Wow. I think that if anybody listening to this, if you have smaller children, like mine are a little bit older, so I can kind of sneak off and get some time, especially with my 16-year-old. I just put her to work. But good stuff about when you have that childcare, and those are the hours that I have that is allotted to the business. And then secondly, girlfriend, you got 2 phones. I love that. I have a second phone that just sits. Now you're gonna have me like, wait a second, this is my business phone. And this
Yeah.
is the personal phone. I love
And
that so
a
much.
little tip, my second phone doesn't have cellular service. It's an
Got
old
you.
phone, or well, it's a new phone, but it was very, very cheap. But I set up Google Voice, and so that's my number. So when I'm in a Wi-Fi area, it works. If I'm not in a Wi-Fi area, it doesn't work. But for me, that works right now. You know, I don't have
I
the
love
budget
that.
to have another line, but Google Voice, you can do that for very little, and still have your own phone number. That's your business line.
That's my new strategy. Okay. That is my new strategy. Because, well, I have to say, I'm really guilty about picking up my phone anyways. So I have two businesses. I'm a makeup artist and I do the business coaching, business and mindset
Yeah.
coaching or whatever. But as a makeup artist, I should really pick my phone up more because, production teams, like photographers, all that kind of stuff. But I'm
Right.
like, if you didn't email me or text me, like that has been my boundary piece. Like, don't call me, message me or
Right.
email me, and that is how I connect. But I do see how in 2020, like I can literally see it on my Google business account. It'll say you got 5 calls this month, and I'm like, ooh, I didn't pick up the phone, I need a spanking. So I'm going to switch out that number with the Google Voice number,
There you
and
go.
then I have my separate business phone, and then I have my personal phone. So I love it. If you guys are watching, hopefully you guys got some amazing tips on boundaries for your business, because it's real. It is real. Like when you're first starting out the business and you're like, I want clients, I'm trying to like connect. You don't think about those boundaries at first. It's not until you get the clients and you've already built up a bad habit that it's like, wait, I need to go back and try to fix some things. So this is
Right.
good that you can get access to this information. Now, everybody got an old phone sitting around in their in
Yeah.
a drawer somewhere. So make it happen, right?
Exactly. And Wi-Fi is in so many different places.
Exactly. Really, really so. And then, if we're working from home, for me personally,
Yeah.
a lot of that time is at my desk. When I'm here at my desk at home, that's when those calls should be coming in. If I'm out with my
Right.
family, I really don't want those calls.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense. I love it so
You
much.
can
So
physically leave the phone.
yes. And then for those moms that, you have the younger kids and you are bringing in, say, a mother's helper or a
Mhm.
nanny. Like I used to have like, a younger, maybe a 12, 13-year-old homeschool kid come and help me with the 2 and 3-year olds. Or I actually started a free babysitting co-op that operated
Oh,
off of little
nice.
tickets. Okay. I was like, I'm running this business. I'm getting me some hours to myself. So that babysitting co-op was really helpful for like breaking up like the time that I'm actually
Mhm.
working versus the time that I'm with the kids and I'm homeschooling them, because their education is important. Right now there's been a little secret shift in our life currently where my husband is doing the homeschooling now
Oh,
and I am
nice.
working. I don't know how long it's gonna last for, but that's what it is right now. And I'm gonna suck it all up.
Very nice. I
Right?
like it.
Because yes, I'm like, yes, I'm off the hook. And so we'll see how long that lasts for. So I do get to spend some extra time, but that means that when I'm off, I need to be off because my kids, ask your children, literally ask them and say, what does mom do? What do you think I do most of the day? Or where do I spend most of my kids will tell me, Mom, you're always working, you're on the phone with the client, you had a call, this, that, the other. I'm like, oh, I don't want them to remember me that way, right? So
Exactly.
yes,
Exactly.
so
Yeah, my
boundaries are
3-year-old
so
already knows
important.
this is Bob's chair.
Yes. They pick up so quickly and they're processing so much more than what we think they are. So we are definitely coming to the end of this meet and greet. Cousett, I have totally enjoyed connecting with you. I just had a little person bust in my room. Uh, but I have totally loved connecting with you, getting to know you. I know you are a member inside of the group. What is the name of this group? Online Multi Passionate Women of Faith. Well, it used to be Creating for Christ. Now it's branded for His glory. So praise His
Nice.
name. We're all branded for His glory. And if anyone wants to connect with Cousett, she will comment under her video and she'll put the link to all of the wonderful, beautiful ways that you can connect with her. And if you have any questions, I'm throwing this out there, which I'm thinking you'll be okay with it. I'm feeling into this one. That if you have any questions for her in regard to tech from now till she goes to bed and close her eyeballs, you can ask her some questions and she'll be
Yeah.
more than happy to help you.
Yes, of course.
So,
And beyond.
okay,
I'll
awesome.
do
Good
what I
stuff.
can.
Good stuff. So is there anything else that you would like for the members to know about you or know about your business or anything like that that you want to put out there?
I'll put them in the notes, but I have a couple of groups. I have a mompreneur group that's just kind of a general mompreneur. I call it the mompreneur tribe because I used to be part of a mops group. And we talked about us being a tribe, and I was like, this is awesome. I love the woman I met there, but they didn't get the business angle. So I'm trying to build a community of moms that get that business angle, as well as the mom angle. And then I have a WordPress help group. So if you need any help with WordPress, come pop in there. And I'm launching my first course. So if you're looking to get started, I have a course I'm going to be launching about how to get your whole website started, from start to finish. Kind of go step by step with a couple of options here and there, because I believe in, not just giving you one YouTube video that says do this, but really understanding what you're doing. So look out for that. And if you're interested, let me know, and we can
Do
put
you
you on the wait
mind
list.
if I ask what the investment for that and how long it's going to be is going to be?
Yeah, so the investment, it's self-paced. So there's no start. It's going to be just ongoing. We'll probably have a pop-up Facebook group to kind of help each other out and so forth. And I'll be available through the WordPress site where the course is, and in the Facebook group. And the investment is going to be $97.
Okay. And how long will that last? Is it like a 4-week thing? I don't know.
It's kind of your own pace.
Okay.
So you could finish in a day, or you could take more time. I will have regular emails that go out to kind of help you along, and any questions that you have and stuff like that, I'll be there to kind of mentor and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like a course that you take, and then you can come in and ask questions and get support. Got you. That's good stuff. You're right, because a lot of those YouTube videos, some of them are outdated, first of all, especially when you're dealing with WordPress. Don't forget to put that on your sales page, whatever you talk about. People like, oh, I can just get this on YouTube, whatever. That stuff is outdated. And WordPress is ever changing and always updating. I think there was just an update the end of this year, right?
Yeah.
Like my lady, I saw the stuff go through, it was like, you got updated. I'm like, whoo, okay. And even when there's an update, you still got to go back and look at all your little apps and different things you put up there and make sure that they stay updated, because then you can get a bug and then things won't be working and blah, blah, blah. See, I could pitch your course, girl.
I think you should.
You see? So that $97 is well invested, especially when you're going to have someone that is there you can ask questions and get some support with as well. So, I might have to be an affiliate for your program. I am looking for more affiliates too, okay? And so it has been a pleasure. I'm so glad I asked you that last question, because you shared some amazing stuff. And you will also be coming in the group and commenting so people can connect with you on all the other stuff that, all the beautiful things. So, all right. I'm going to actually hang up I'm telling them all the juicy details. I'm going to hang up with the live, and then we can kind of we can hang up separately, because I hate hanging up here. I don't know why I do that, but I just do. So let me see if I can stop it. All right. See you guys later. Thank y'all for watching.